Actually, a speech made by the Emperor Haile Selassie, put to music by Bob Marley. All right, it's the major international story in print, broadcast, and online. But what caused Russia to invade the Ukraine and start a war, basically? We asked retired Jamaica Defense Force Captain Dr. Rupert Francis to give us a bit of a history lesson. Morning, sir. Welcome to Smile Jamaica once again, sir. How are you?
Morning, Neville. Morning, Simone.
Good
I'm
morning,
good. I'm
Doc.
fine.
Nice to see
Good,
you.
great day in West Palm Beach.
Oh, great to have you with us, sir.
Yeah.
Some of the analysts that I'm listening to say he didn't want Ukraine to join NATO. Some say he wants back the USSR. Your take on why Mr. Putin decided to invade Ukraine?
It's a perfect catch-22 as far as I'm concerned, Neville, in the sense that, damned if you damned if you don't. He really wanted, basically, from what I have discerned, that he wanted Ukraine back in the Soviet Union because Ukraine is a very valuable asset in terms of the geopolitics right now. This is Putin said it himself, and it's like he would not go to sleep without getting it. And when you see what the moves he has made in the past, and he has also warned them not to join NATO. So there are many reasons not to join. He really thinks that Russia owns Ukraine, but he not to join NATO because it's too close to the border. That is an issue. One of the main issues that he has gone and amassed troops on the border and actually invaded the Ukraine.
You know, Doctor, folks were saying, or who were saying he'd never do it. He's just talking tough. He's not going to do it. He has too much to lose. But he did it. Are you surprised? Because people are saying he seems to be a little more unhinged this time round.
Simon, I think he was going to, he intended, he had to do it now. When else would he have done it? He just felt that he had amassed enough troops, he had enough support from other countries in the world, not necessarily in the NATO group, to support what he was doing and to stay out of it. China is staying out. Many other nations, although they support, they're staying out. And they understood that NATO does not have the clout to really fight with the
Boots on the
Ukrainians
ground.
at this time. Yes, so he knew that.
Yeah, if Ukraine is it a part of NATO? How would that hurt Russia? How would that hurt Putin?
Oh, okay, I'm going to tell you something that Bernie Sanders said yesterday. That it is similar to the crisis that happened in 1962 with Cuba and the missile crisis and the United States. The Monroe Doctrine states that they will not allow any other country to come close to or to take over any more territories in Latin America. It's a similar type of things, that they don't want them so close. If you recall, Ukraine had all the nuclear missiles and all those things right close to the border, and which could hit Russia at any one time. And especially, they have two territories that are pro-Russian, the Belarus and the Crimea. So that is really for strategic advantage. They did not want any other country to have that type of strategic. Plus, do not forget the Baltic Sea and the access to those ports out there. So those are key to Russian development in the future. And the main minerals, remember, Ukraine was only second to Russia when you had the Soviet USSR. So they're really powerful and wealthy nation, and they really want the wealth and the power.
Yeah, I was reading of the significance of Ukraine, the size of the land, what they produce. It's a long list, so I guess I can understand. Let me ask you about these sanctions now that are being levied, Doc.
Yes.
And really and truly what the sanctions can do, right? I mean, they're becoming more and they're becoming vast, and SWIFT is now a thing, and the EU is coalescing and the US is I mean, do you think these sanctions, and know that Putin himself is being sanctioned, right? It was just his people around him. Will this make a difference at all?
I think that the sanctions can make a difference. They can if they are upheld and they stick to it. But you have to have the cooperation of Germany. If they take over Ukraine, part of the pipeline that is running across Ukraine, which they're paying $1 billion, I think, a month for that. that is Russia is. That will make a significant, and if it affects the money of the people, the money people in the USSR, the oligarchs, then you will, and Putin is one of those. Putin is worth $200 billion, I understand from my research. And so they don't want their money, and the finance, what should I say, the whole business and geopolitics are into the finance and the financing of Russia. If they can hit them in the pocket and so on, and make the people in Russia start to rebel and start to have protests, a lot of protests, then perhaps it will have an effect. However, it depends on how quickly they move the fight into Ukraine. Don't forget, Ukraine is not a walkover. They still have they have 44 million people, and they are volunteering as you speak, and they have had a lot of casualties on Russia as we speak.
Yeah, I think that surprised a lot of people is the pushback that Ukraine has been given. And a lot of folks say Russia didn't budget for this, so they're running into a lot of problems.
Well, you see, it's a question the people decide that they want their homes and they want to be secure in their land. And this is a historical, a long history. And so they're not going to give up so easily. I wouldn't. And war is a very unpredictable thing, and there are 9 principles that you really have to cover when you're dealing with war. The first 3 are good communications, maintaining momentum, and being flexible. And it appears to me that the first 3 are being used by the so-called opposition, the smaller force. But don't watch the smallest of the force. If they are dedicated and strategic, then as far as I'm concerned, they can really make a dent and slow it down. So the impact, they have better weapons, they have larger arsenals and what have you. No, he also threatened with the nuclear option, which I found rather strange. I think he should not go in that route because nobody can win a nuclear war at all. So that is a very significant situation. And remember, don't forget, Turkey has some serious nuclear warheads in Turkey pointed right at Russia too. If the NATO people, all together, the 12 countries get involved, well, not 12 now, 30.
Yeah, it was a question I wanted to ask, Captain, that if that's just chat from Putin about this, putting nuclear folks on alert.
Boy, when I look at his body language and I look at what he says, he reminds me of a few people in history. Stalin, Lenin, and Hitler.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking the guy for looking like that. I'm just simply saying as a member of the KGB, and he is serious about, what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he said it in open forum on world media that they will see a war that they have never seen before.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I take that man seriously. Remember, also that there are journalists who came out again, other persons, and what did happen to them? They ended up dead.
Yes.
If you remember.
That is correct.
So, they don't play with Putin. Let's put it that way.
I was having a chat, my final question, sir, with one of my colleagues when I came this morning.
Yes.
I think it's Zelensky. It was offered a way out, and he said he wants to stay and fight. I kind of suggested that I think he should leave because should Russia take over, and it seems that they will, at least he will be, even in exile, he could still kind of put some troops together and, do some stuff. Well, my colleague disagreed with me. Your thoughts on that, sir?
Well, your colleague is a very, what should I say? Your colleague is a man that I would shake his hand because I would do the same too. Because if you leave, you're saying to the guy you're giving, and the people will give up when the leader leaves. And, it's really, even though we might not like Saddam Hussein or what have you, he never left. Yeah. He went to hide in a hole, but he never left.
Yeah. Well,
and I don't understand how he ended up like that. But, unfortunately, let's hope it does not go that way. I think Mr. Putin is wrong. I think he should not have gone this route. I think he has lost any appeal to us in the West or anybody else. And his methodology is too wicked. If you've seen some of the things that have happened, I saw a tank roll over a car for absolutely nothing.
no reason.
Yep.
Well,
The man survived. I don't know how he survived.
Yeah.
That's war, right?
Yeah.
What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. I mean, we look
Absolutely.
on and we see, and a lot of people think we're far removed, right? But we see our students, thank God they're a little safer now. What is the implication for us? We're far, and some people think it doesn't have anything to do with us, but eventually we'll feel it. Starting to feel it
we
already,
will
actually.
feel it because we're feeling it through the oil prices
Yes,
right now.
start to
As
feel it.
regards the students, 22 came out yesterday because one of the organizations I represent, the Jamaican Men of Florida, offered to help as well as other organizations, the opposition and the government, to get them out. And they're safe. But we have many other implications because the oil prices start to go up. Because remember, that is one of the basins, the chief basins over there for oil and natural gas, right? And if those are made more expensive, the barrel it has gone to $100 a barrel already. Can you imagine the impact it's going to have on food? We already import over $800 million worth of food, including chicken and all that sort of thing. And to be quite honest with you, I really shudder when I think of the effects that it can have. Hopefully, we will start to grow more foods at home in Jamaica and, try to eat less of those chickens that come from abroad, etc.
Thank you.
That's what I'm hoping.
Thank you,
But there
sir.
are other fiscal things that can happen too. It could affect our stock market as it is affecting the U.S. stock market.
Okay.
But when Mr. Biden went and announced his fiscal policies against Russia, it came back. So we are hoping for hope that this will not be a long, protracted war. We are hoping that they have some type of negotiation because, let me tell you, as I said, and I started, Ukraine is not lying down. They're fighting back. They have pushed down helicopters with small arms. I don't know how they did that.
Yeah.
And what have you. But,
Doc, we have to,
but Russia is feeling it.
Yeah, we
yeah,
have to go, sir.
We could talk all day, but we have to get in the wrap.
Only to say, sir, you wouldn't want to shake my colleague's hand. He's not a nice person, sir. Be safe, sir. God bless you, sir.
All right, all the best. All the best.
Retired Jamaica Defense Force Captain Dr. Rupert Francis.
Up next, we're asking Dr. Susan Minot Arscott why